Absolutely. Here's a dramatic and in-depth YouTube article about Saab Evolution 1947 onward, crafted in a storytelling style, without any mention of handling conditions, and approximately. Saab Evolution 1947 present, from fighter skies to road legends. It began in the ashes of war. In a quiet corner of Sweden, a company born in the skies looked to the roads. What followed wasn't just a car. It was a philosophy, a movement, a legacy. This is the evolution of Saab, a story that spans from 1947 to the present. A story not of noise and glory, but of innovation, defiance, and soul. This is not just automotive history. This is automotive rebellion. The sky was just the beginning. 1937–1947. Before rubber met the road, Saab owned the skies. In 1937, Svenska Aeroplan AB, later known simply as Saab, was founded to manufacture military aircraft. Precision, engineering excellence, and aerodynamic brilliance were its foundation. Then, in 1945, the war ended. But Saab didn't shut down. Instead, it reimagined its future. The mission: to build a car like no other. A car forged from the mind of an aircraft engineer, not a traditional automaker. A car that flew, not literally, but spiritually. 1947. Enter the Ursaab, a new beginning. In 1947, the world met the Saab 92 prototype, better known as the Ursaab. It looked like nothing else on the road. Sleek, rounded, aerodynamic to the extreme, and for good reason. It was designed in a wind tunnel by a team of aircraft engineers. Only 16 people worked on the project. None of them had built a car before. But they weren't building a car. They were building an idea. An idea that a vehicle could be smarter, safer, and more efficient. An idea that would change everything. 1950s. The quirky genius emerges. In 1950, the Saab 92 officially launched. It had a tiny two-cylinder, two-stroke engine, but what it lacked in power, it made up for in engineering. With front-wheel drive and a monocoque body, it offered features decades ahead of its time. By 1955, the Saab 93 arrived with a three-cylinder engine and a revised look, but still unmistakably Saab. And in 1959, came a true icon, the Saab 95 station wagon, practical, boxy, beautifully odd. These weren't mainstream cars. They were machines for thinkers. For nonconformists. The world was obsessed with style and size. Saab was obsessed with function and safety. 1960s. Racing, safety, and global identity. Saab entered the 1960s with a bang, and with a new hero, Erik Karlsson, their rally driver who became a legend behind the wheel of the humble Saab 96. While other companies pursued horsepower, Saab chased traction, lightness, and durability. The 96 was beloved by engineers and poets alike, a quirky companion that didn't roar but whispered confidence. Meanwhile, Saab began adding innovations. Padded dashboards, reinforced cabins, the introduction of seat belts as standard. They weren't chasing luxury, they were chasing intelligence. And people noticed. 1970s. Turbocharged thinking. Then came the 1970s. The world was changing, and Saab, true to form, changed with it, but on its own terms. In 1978, they released something the automotive world had never seen in this form. The Saab 99 Turbo. It wasn't the first turbocharged car, but it was the first that made turbocharging usable, reliable, and everyday practical. Suddenly, Saab wasn't just safe and smart. It was fast, too. The 99 Turbo looked modest, but inside, it was a technological revelation. It delivered speed with control, innovation with restraint, and performance without pretense. It wasn't for everyone, it was for someone who saw the world differently. 1980s. Icons are born. The 1980s were Saab's golden era. In 1984, they unveiled the car that would become a cult legend, the Saab 900 Turbo. Wedge-shaped, minimalist, beautifully weird, the 900 was more than a car. It was a statement, driven by architects, professors, writers, designers, anyone who didn't follow the crowd. Inside, the cockpit was tilted toward the driver, just like in a fighter jet. The ignition, mounted between the seats, for safety. The dashboard, logical and clean. This was a car built by thinkers, for thinkers. The 900 became an international sensation. Not because it shouted, but because it spoke quietly, and everyone listened. 1990s. Engineering first, always. In the 90s, Saab doubled down on its identity. The 9000 Aero, introduced in the mid-90s, wasn't flashy. But it could go head-to-head with the best of Germany, and hold its own. It was a luxury cruiser without the arrogance. A performance car without the ego. Saab was one of the first brands to offer turbocharging across most of its lineup, active head restraints, cabin air filters, night panel dash dimming, a fighter jet-inspired feature that reduced dash light distraction during long drives. Every Saab felt deliberate, every switch, every dial, every feature, built with purpose. In a world chasing prestige, Saab pursued principle. 2000s, innovation in the shadow of giants. The early 2000s brought challenges. Now under GM ownership, Saab struggled to retain its quirky soul while being forced to share platforms and parts. But even then, the Saab spirit endured. The 9-3 Aero, 9-5, and Saab 9-2X, nicknamed the Saabaroo, all carried hints of brilliance, with turbocharged engines, Scandinavian simplicity, and clever safety features. The Saab 9-5 Aero was especially notable, a sleek, sophisticated saloon that delivered quiet power and bold design. Still, financial troubles loomed. Saab was never built for mass production, it was built for integrity. And in 2011, Saab's original story came to an end. Or so we thought. 2012 present, the legacy that refuses to die. Though Saab ceased automobile production in 2011, the brand never truly died. Former employees, fans, and engineers have kept its spirit alive. In 2012, the company was purchased by NEV's National Electric Vehicle Sweden, aiming to relaunch Saab as an electric brand. The familiar 9-3 design reappeared with electric power, a silent nod to its past, and a whisper of its future. Though legal challenges over the Saab name halted further use, the philosophy of Saab lives on in the minds of enthusiasts, engineers, and dreamers. Saab clubs around the world remain active. Thousands of cars still roam the roads, loved, preserved, and cherished. Because Saab wasn't just a brand. It was a mindset. Why Saab still matters. Today, we live in an automotive world dominated by algorithms, marketing, and mass appeal. But Saab reminds us of a different path, a path where engineering came first. Where innovation wasn't loud, but persistent. Where safety mattered more than status. Where the driver wasn't just a customer, but a partner in purpose. You didn't drive a Saab to impress others. You drove it to stay true to yourself. It wasn't for everyone, and that's what made it great. Conclusion. Long live the thinking machine. From the Ursaab in 1947 to the electric echoes of today, Saab has been more than a car manufacturer. It has been a revolution in slow motion. A story of innovation without ego. A tale of how intelligence, purpose, and soul can live under a single badge. In a world of noise, Saab whispered, and those who listened never forgot. It taught us that cars don't need to be loud to be powerful. They don't need to be flashy to be loved. They don't need to be mainstream to be immortal. This is not the end of Saab. Because ideas never die, they just evolution. Would you like a voiceover script version or a visual breakdown with timestamps to match your video editing style for AutoWorld?